Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today we have a delicious soul food with a little bit of Puerto Rican fusion flair. We're making pork chops, corn pudding, fried cabbage, and a rice dish inspired by arroz con gandules. So a yellow rice with pigeon peas that you guys are going to love. Now I have 3 pork chops here and they are thin cut with the bone in, and I'm going to season them with some olive oil, some mustard. It will not taste strong of mustard, okay, but it goes really good with pork. And this Poultry Magic. Now, I know it say Poultry Magic, but y'all know we don't let these labels tell us what to do, okay? We're going to use it on these pork chops. I'm also going to use my salt-free onion and herb seasoning. You guys saw me make this in another video, and I'm just going to salt to taste. So very simple and very easy recipe. I'm going to make sure that these do come to room temperature, though, before I stick them in the oven. I know people think pork is really fatty, but baby, a pork chop can be real dry, okay? Not a pork chop, a pork chop, okay? Now, I'm going to go in and I am going to be putting on some butter. This is going to help it stay nice and moist. And I have also put a baking sheet with water at the bottom of my oven. This will release some steam and help the pork chop stay juicy as well. I'm going to cook these at 375 in total for about 18 to 20 minutes. The last 4 minutes, I am going to broil this on low, and I'm going to let the top get a nice color and let some of that fat render. You can just baste your pork chops as needed. I'm going to saute 2 strips of bacon for my fried cabbage, and when they have rendered their fat, I'm going to add in some peppers and some onions. I'm going to let that saute just for about 1 minute before going in with 1 head of small cabbage that I have chopped up roughly. They're in about 1/2 inch pieces, but you know, I ain't measure, okay? Now I'm going to go in with one of my favorite seasonings, Vegeta. I'm going to link that in the description, and then I'm going to pile on my cabbage. Now, it's going to look like, okay, it ain't going to have enough room, but y'all know cabbage will shrink. So put that top on, let it cook on low for a few minutes, and it will wilt right on down, baby. I'm going to then turn it, and then I'm just going to let it keep cooking until it gets to the tenderness I like. I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of water because this cabbage I had wasn't super juicy. It didn't release a lot of juice. After about 10 to 12 minutes, I felt that mine was okay, but you really need to cook this to the level that you like. I like a little bit of crunch on mine, but of course, if you like it super soft, you can go for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to adjust the taste with a little bit of sugar, okay, a little bit of pepper, you know, a little bit of garlic powder just to my own taste. Now, the sugar won't make it sweet. It's just going to bring out the natural sweetness that is in the cabbage. Baby, let's get into this yellow rice. Okay, so this is inspired by arroz con gandules. Maybe saying it wrong. Okay, don't come for me. Y'all, I don't speak Spanish. And I saw this recipe on Mari's Cooking. And so I wanted to do a version of it with some things that I just had at the house. So it's probably not authentic, all right, but it is really good. So I'm going to saute 1 cup of this ham steak in 2 tablespoons of butter just till it gets brown. I'm going to put in 1/2 of a diced onion, and I'm going to saute this for about 3 minutes. Instead of using sofrito, I'm going to use some of my green seasoning and garlic. Mine does not have cilantro in it, so you could add that, but I didn't have any that day. I'm going to add in about 1.5 teaspoons of tomato paste, and it is like this on this frozen sheet because I freeze mine in little pieces of wax paper because, you know, the can, you don't tend to use it all at one time. Then I'm going to add some sazon and some chicken bouillon powder, and this is the sazon I'm using today, but you can just use the one that's in that little packet. I'm also going to add in a packet of this ham bouillon, which is really tasty, and also a little bit of dried oregano. My gandules are going to be these green pigeon peas, and I'm going to drain the liquid into a measuring cup, and then I'm going to add in the pigeon peas. I'm going to saute this for about 1 minute to let that flavor soak into those pigeon peas, and then I'm going to add in 2 cups of basmati rice, and I'm going to mix this until it's thoroughly coated. I am going to take the liquid from the pigeon peas, and then I'm going to add enough water until this becomes 4 cups of water because I have 2 cups of rice. I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to taste the water for flavor. Your broth should really taste highly seasoned. So if it doesn't have enough salt or if it needs a little bit more bouillon, you go ahead and add it now. I felt like mine needed a little sazon tropical. Even though this isn't typically in rice, I do put it in and a little bit more extra sazon and salt. I added on a habanero pepper, mostly just for fragrance. It doesn't make the rice spicy at all. I'm going to let this cook on low for 20 minutes until the rice is nice and fluffy. Then I'm going to go in with some chopsticks and just fluff it up. I use these chopsticks instead of using a spoon because I find that using a spoon on freshly cooked rice initially will kind of make it a little mushy, and you don't want no mushy rice, baby, okay? Now today I'm going to show you how to make a small corn pudding. My other recipe was really big, like for a big family, but this one is more suitable for just an everyday weeknight meal or a small family. So I'm going to put in 2 eggs and 1/4 of a cup of half and half and a tablespoon and a half of cornstarch. I am then going to put in vanilla extract. Now I just shook it in, okay? Y'all know how the cooks do, but I estimate it's about a teaspoon, as well as 1/4 of a cup of sugar. Now, my grandmama used to put so much sugar in this, but mine is really more on the mildly sweet side. So if you like yours to be sweeter, you could even put up to 1/2 of a cup. For a little spice, I'm going to add in the cinnamon, and I'll end up putting in some nutmeg, as well as 1/2 stick of butter. I'm going to use 1 can of creamed corn and 1 can of diced corn that I have drained. And then I'm going to mix this all together. Now, after I put everything together, I gave it a little taste. Yeah, I know it got raw egg in it, but I did give it a little taste, okay? And then I just went in with a little bit of extra nutmeg. If you want to cook this at the same time as your pork chops, you can cook this at 375 for about 25 to 30 minutes. Of course, you could give this a head start. If you're cooking it individually, you could do it at 400 for about 20 minutes. You want to cook it until the top is brown, but the center should still have a little bit of jiggle, and you'll also see that it's going to be golden on the edges. You can eat this warm, room temperature, or cold. Let me know if you love this meal, guys. God bless you. Don't forget that I love you and Jesus loves you. God bless everyone who watches my channel, and goodbye.